I'm on a filming roll today. I'm not going to stop. Going to keep churning out videos whilst my baby naps. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am back to sit down and discuss another book video. My thoughts and feels of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I was umming and ahhing whether to sit down and do a book discussion on this book because it's 5 years old, and I thought, well, it's been there, it's been done multiple times, blah blah blah. I'm doing it for me, I'm doing it for myself. I really regret not filming book reviews for certain books that I have read in the past, and I'm going to sit down and gush about this. So, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. This is book one of, I'm saying 3 because there are 3 books in the series, and then there is a prequel, and there has just been, or it has just been announced, there is another one to the prequel, I believe. I'm still early stages in this, so like I said, this came out in 2015, and this is about a girl called Feyre. Is it Feyre? Yeah, F-E-Y-R-E, and she is a human girl, and she lives in a village of like poverty, and there is a wall that divides, this is how my brain sees it, there is a wall that divides the humans and then the fairies. They both know each other exist, sort of thing, but they sort of keep themselves. Is the sort of main provider for the family, even though she's the youngest, and she is the hunter, so she goes out to obviously kill things for food. She accidentally kills a wolf, which happened to be a fairy. Unknowing that she did that, shit hits the fan, someone comes to take her away, and the rule is for her to obviously stay alive, she's got to go and live in the land of the Fae. But her family will be okay. We then see Feyre go into the world of the Fae. Is it the Fae? The fairies? And the world is separated in different courts, so A Court of Thorns and Roses. So the main part of this book is set in the Spring Court, which is where Tamlin, the main love interest and like main high fae. I understand if you're not in it and you haven't read it, it's very difficult to understand, but it's different hierarchies of fairies, and so Tamlin is like top dog, who is also a shapeshifter, and he lives in the Spring Court, in like this massive fancy house, and we obviously see her go from living in poverty and like struggling to make ends meet and just get by on basic rations to living in this life of luxury and being able to have whatever she wanted and everything like that. Like I said, there are different courts, so you've got all of the seasons, so spring, summer, autumn, winter, and then there, I want to say, is night, day, dawn and dusk. Don't quote me on that, can't quite remember. And there are, like I said, different ranks of fairy and different rules, and it's just so magical. I loved this book so much, and from someone that doesn't necessarily like fantasy, I was really put off this because I could not get on with Throne of Glass, which is Sarah J Maas's first like start of like fantasy. I read book 1 and 2 and I just gave up after book 2. Sorry, I'm gonna yawn, I'm very tired, I need a coffee. And I was put off for a very long time reading this, but now I've started it and loved it. I'm potentially going to go back and read A Throne of Glass. So if you've read that, leave me a comment below and let me know, because I do really want to get back into it, but I just didn't love it. Unlike this one, I don't know what it was about it. I loved the dynamics of the courts. I loved the concept. I loved the baddie in this. I call her Amantha. I know that that's not right. It's Aramantha, but I basically say it's Samantha, but without the S. I loved Tamlin. One of my favourite characters was Lucian. I think he was great, like a good, I never saw him as like a this is no spoilers, I never saw him as like a romantic person. I always saw him as like as a big brother and like someone that looks out for Feyre, I find it really hard to say her name. There's so much action in this book as well, which again I think is why I liked it so much. I've read a lot of chick lit and sometimes it gets a bit boring, like they go to the beach and they have a cup of tea and it's all so lovely, whereas this is like, oh yeah, action. I loved like the little side characters, I loved Alice and things like that, and I just loved the whole concept. So have I got onto that? When she's in the land of when she's in the spring court, she notices that everyone that is in that court has got like a masquerade mask on their face, and it turns out that there was a curse that was placed on the spring court 50 years ago, where they've got these masks fused onto their face, and I found that a really interesting concept. I loved the pacing, like I said. I really enjoyed the story, the plot points, learning about a new world. I'm quite daunted by that sometimes, but I was here for it this time and I just absolutely thrived off of it. Took a turn, I would say maybe 3/4 of the way through, and it wasn't all like fancy, whimsical, and like learning about the world and like the different types of fairy and everything like that. It definitely shifted and there was definitely more of like a rebellion sort of feel about it. Again, no spoilers, I can't get into that bit yet, but I just really enjoyed the shift that it took in the ending. It was definitely left not on like a massive cliffhanger, but it was like, oh, where are we going to go next sort of thing. So that is going to wrap up my non-spoiler section. I'm so sorry if that didn't make sense. This is why I feel quite critical of myself. I don't explain things very well, which is why I don't film these videos that often. But it was just fantastic and I really, really recommend it. I'm going to yawn again. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's only like 2:10. Can't wait to see where book 2 goes. I have already started it. I am like 35 pages into it and it's already brilliant. I'm having a whale of a time. So turn off now if you haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled. If you do want to be spoiled, then continue watching. But why? Because this is great. It's not that long. What is it, 300 and something pages? 416 pages, so not that long, not really. And I thought it was a really great first book. So turn off. So spoiler section. What ship are we? I know that everyone ships Reese, and also when I read this I read it as Rysand. Why make one of the characters' names so bloody difficult to read? Tamlin is straightforward. Rysand, R-H-Y-S-A-N-D, that's not Reese, that's Rysand. Why not? Why? That really, really grinds my gears. But anyway, I know that everyone in book 2 switches to Reese, and I'm thinking, why? Because at the moment I'm all Tamlin and I really like Tamlin and I'm very confused. I feel like it's quite highly spoke about in this like little community, and I'm questioning as to what is Tamlin done that's so wrong for everyone to go to Rysand. I like them both. At the moment, like I said, we've had more character and more time with Tamlin and we've had more development and we've seen them together a lot more. So to try and understand what goes on in book 2, I can't relate to that at the moment. But I did like the moments that we did see with Reese. I did sort of like his character. Like, he is an asshole from what I can gather at the moment, like with his magic. Oh, in the non-spoiler section I didn't say about magical powers, never mind. With his magic and everything like that, like he's dangerous, really, really dangerous. I missed out so much in my non-spoiler section. Never mind, let's hope some of you are still watching. Yeah, so he's really, really dangerous and I sort of quite liked that. I liked that. God, really absolutely shat me up. Oh my god, almost just had a heart attack. Come here, you're so annoying. You're not going out there, you're staying here with me. If not, you'll wake up your sister. Thank you very much. Sit there and just shut up. What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, you put me off my train of thoughts. Yeah, he just, I don't know, I just get that vibe that like he is, I can't remember what I was saying, but he's very powerful, and that's quite scary, but I quite liked that. And I also liked that he basically just has a no fucks given attitude, and I found it quite endearing. He's very cocky, and I did like that trait about him. So we shall see in book 2 where that goes from here. So I don't even bloody know where to begin. I found the first couple of chapters a little bit boring, her just like hunting and like the human world a little bit dull, but I understand we needed to set the scene. I don't really know why she was so obsessed with like filling her dead mum's promise and all of that, but I mean, potato. I really enjoyed it when she went to the courts for the first time and like seeing how different life is going to be. Obviously she's been so used to like living in squalor to then going into like I envisage it as like a mansion, a really grand mansion with all of these people that are wearing masks. I really enjoyed like seeing her like getting stripped down and cleaned and things like that, and like wearing things. She's like, I'm not wearing a dress, like I want to wear like a tunic and trousers and things like that. I enjoyed that whole sort of like her still being I guess she was a little bit pedantic. I enjoyed her like still like not bowing down to what it should be like, and her still having a stand and her questioning things. I quite liked that. I did quite like her as a main character. I do sometimes find female leads quite annoying, but I did actually quite like Feyre. I really loved, like I said in the non-spoiler section, I really loved the relationship that she has with Lucian. I don't know what it is, I just feel like it's really it's like brother sisterly, and I feel like he has got her best interest at heart. I don't know if that's going to bite me in the arse later on down the line, but I just really liked the dynamic that those two had. I am still finding it a little bit confusing about like the different fairies, and I can't remember what they're called. Is it the cereal and the naga? Sorry, there's a pronunciation guide at the back, but that doesn't really help me that well. I enjoyed learning about it, but it does take me a long time, and when it comes to that sort of stuff, I am quite a visual person, so I haven't googled it yet to like try and find like a representation of it, but I probably will later on if those sorts of things do occur, which I'm sure they will. I enjoyed her trying to find out more information when she caught that cereal, and they were like, just stay close to Tamlin, like listen to what he has to say. And obviously we find out later on down the line as to why. I loved the relationship that she sort of started to have with Tamlin. It was a little bit, I don't know, one thing that did annoy me is that she didn't necessarily follow the rules. So when he was like, stay in, she's like, oh, it'll be fine, and she like almost died. And then we met Reese for the first time. Come here. And then obviously that's when we met Reese for the first time, and he saved her from those weird fairies. He had a tiny like explicit scene. Like I said, have just started book 2, and that is like, here we go, we're going deep deep in the second book, whereas this one was a little bit more like light. So I would definitely say that this is more new romance than young adult, just because of like the explicit scenes. But I really enjoyed seeing Tamlin and Feyre like develop a relationship, and then spending time together and feelings developing, and him giving her those painting sets and everything like that. I really enjoyed like just seeing them like start to like each other. I was so annoyed when it all took a turn. Reese rocked up at the house and they tried to hide Feyre, and eventually Tamlin was like, you just have to go back home to the human world and forget about us all. And I was like, she can't do that, can she? She just can't, because who could? She's been there for, I think it was like 4 months. Like, you can't just forget that and then be like, oh, okay, right, cool, see you later sort of thing. Like, that's not gonna happen. And then for her to be at home, and obviously her family are okay, Tamlin looked after them, and we saw them in the fancy home, and the sisters were like, look, it's okay, like you can go back, sort of thing. That whole situation, why did she leave? She didn't need to leave. She could have just been like, no, I'm going to stay here with you, like I'm in love with you. But no, she didn't say it. So many what ifs. And then when she went back, obviously everything in the spring court just went to shit, and there was nothing there, and everything had been destroyed, and we found out that they'd all been taken to under the mountain. Still so much terminology that I've got to get my head round. It was a lot, considering there's like a lot happened in such a small space of time. Yeah, under the mountain was an experience and a half. I didn't really know how it was going to go, what it was going to happen, like what was going to happen. I enjoyed how we saw the 3 different like trials that she had to do. How awful was it as well with that girl? Was it Claire? When Reese was like, oh, what's your name? And she lied and said her name, and then he went and killed her and killed all of her family. It was awful. And then you see her body. Really, really grim. When she went under the mountain to try and save Tamlin, it just felt a bit, nah. You're just a human girl, they could rip you apart, and I'm sure they will. And then she either had to solve the riddle or do the 3 challenges, and she almost died multiple times, and Reese saved her. For him to finally agree to like save her and help her heal after the worm attack, which was very, very odd, but thoroughly enjoyed it. She had to give up a week of her month for the rest of her life. So every month she would spend a week with Reese for the rest of her life. I just found that like, how is that going to play out later on down the line? But I enjoyed the added like stakes, I guess, of the challenges that were going ahead, and things that she had to go through were pretty grim, like having to kill those innocent people. That was hard, but I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the ending of her realising it, and realising that she could kill Tamlin but not kill him, and then Armantha, again, no, I'm saying it wrong, just absolutely lost her shit and like snapped Feyre's back. But then because all of the high fae were there, they all like donated like a bit of their like, I don't know what it was like a star. They all like fell into Feyre, and then she turned into a fairy, and that was basically it. And it was just a bloody good time. I really, really enjoyed it. Has anything I've just said made any sense? Probably not. Am I looking forward to book 2? Couldn't be more excited to literally take my bra off, get my hot water bottle, put my fluffy socks on, do my skincare, and just sit and read about fairies. Really pleasantly surprised. Biggest surprise of no, not the biggest surprise of 2020, because what happened in 2020, a pleasant reading surprise for 2020, I shall say. Really, really enjoyed it. Really fast paced, really action packed. I have got no clue where this is going to go next. The masks came off. Tamlin can be like a lion. Rysand is like a bat with wings. Like, very confusing. Feyre is now Fae, so that means she can live forever. What is going to happen with Tamlin? What's going to happen with Reese? Is Lucian going to be okay? Who's going to be the baddie? I don't know. I can't call it. So I'm going to sign it off. I can't wait to read book 2. Got it on my Kindle. I don't know where that's gone. And I also have it in paperback format for my bookshelf. I am going to go. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've read it. I'd like to hope that when you're watching this point of the video, you would have read it. So if you have, message me and we can chat, because I need a little reading buddy to like read book 2 with, and I don't have that at the moment, and I want to be able to be like, oh my god, chapter 12. I'm not even on chapter 12, I'm on like chapter 3, but I'm gonna go. Had a good time, hope you did too, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.